My name's Joe. I'm Joe Leach. I work for a user experience company called CX Partners here in Bristol in the UK, and I'm going to today be talking to you about eye tracking and why I love eye tracking and why it's a great tool for us UX professionals to kind of understand, define, measure the user experience. Everything I'm going to be talking about today you can read down here, so the five reasons why I like it, and you may well want to boost your window up to full screen so you can get an idea about what I'm talking about. So you see this red dot on the screen here, that's my eyes and what I'm looking at, so I'm looking at hello now. You follow that and you see what I'm looking at any one point on the screen. So without further ado, let's start things up. Have a cup of tea here. So it by default uses Internet Explorer, but for today's sake I'm going to use Firefox because otherwise I get loads of comments about using IE. So having a little look at a couple of websites that we've worked on. So this is some work we did recently for a company called Money Supermarket in the UK. So one of the things that I love about eye tracking is, again, it's a simple thing, you get to see what the user sees. So you can see exactly what I'm looking at here today. So one of the things we found with this page and with credit card summaries, people are drawn to the credit card image. So I'm looking at the credit card image down here, fine card from Mr. Branson here. But it's great. What eye tracking allows me to do is to see what people are looking at, what works, what doesn't work. Is that call to action noticed? Is it seen immediately? Is it understood? And kind of the level of engagement I'm having and users are having generally with the text on the site. So let me have a little look around. You can see what I'm looking at. I'm going to read that. No, probably not. Have a little look at the review. Interesting. I haven't read it. A great little tool. So one of the other things that we like to use eye tracking for is understanding and making design decisions a lot easier. So often, typically in a project, you'll have 2 or 3 design routes, and you want to kind of know what works, why one route's better than another route, and rather than kind of often the subjectivity that happens, well, I prefer this one because of the green, I prefer that one because of this. Often eye tracking is great at figuring out what works from a kind of design point of view. So another project we worked on, again, which has gone live recently, is this site here by Saga Travel. One of the things we spent a lot of time working on was this section at the top here with these images that pop up. And again, we found that people liked these pictures. Pictures are engaging, pictures of people are engaging, people are drawn to faces a little bit more when they first start. A great way of understanding and what works with understanding the page is, seeing what people look at and what engages them for a little bit amount of time. Other things eye tracking is great as well for is understanding and looking at the kind of the page information kind of hierarchy as well. So let's have a little look at that. So I'm going to go in and have a little look at this particular holiday here, the Jewels of India. And again, what we used eye tracking for at this point on the page was checking out what people are looking at. We found people tended to look at the imagery first. Even at the Taj Mahal, okay. And one of the things that I talk about down here as well is looking at kind of point number 4 is looking at text as well, and bullet points. Really well read by people. They like them, they understand, they see what's going on. Bullet points engage the eye a little bit more rather than plain text. Other things that work really quite well with things like eye tracking as well. I wrote a post last year with a colleague of mine, Fizz, about things about the page fold. So issues and points around the page fold causing particular issues and that people won't engage with the page fold or stuff that's below the fold. And we used eye tracking perfectly well to kind of kill that myth. Other things that we looked at and talked about with things like in the page fold is stuff around hyperlinks, how hyperlinks need to be defined, and how looking at links, and links, if they ping out of the page, the eye was drawn to them and people notice and look at links. You can see the links that you've got over here. It's an interesting image, isn't it? See, my eye's drawn to that image. Again, what happens in user testing. So again, and what eye tracking is really good at is understanding and breaking some of those myths. See me here, I've engaged with the page fold, I found the links, it's dead simple, links don't have to be blue, they are in this case. It's a great tool of figuring out and understanding what's going on as well. So some of the other things that eye tracking does quite well as we talked about bullets in copy before, but often the thing you'll find as well is that you can use it to assess how effective copy is as well. So I'm having a little look at this now. Okay, I agree with the history of the pro. Interesting stuff. It's interesting copy, and I'm engaging with it and I'm reading with it. One of the things we typically see is people will read the first line of copy and then just scan the rest of the page and the rest of the stuff that's there. Again, we saw that quite a lot on this particular page here. Is the text at the top here. For instance, #1 price comparison site. People were starting to read it, starting to engage with it. Didn't read too much of it. As long as they were drawn to things like the bold text here at this point, that was enough. They didn't have to read all of the whole kind of complete set of copy. Okay, so other things that is really good with this kind of stuff as well. So I'm going to have a little look at a site we did for Jaguar this year. One of the key things that you want to ensure is right is the kind of calls to action. So figuring out what the bits and the next steps that people need to do here. So let me have a little look at Europe, to the UK site here. There's the United Kingdom, there she blows over here. So while that loads up, you can kind of see what I'm looking at here, waiting. So looking at the kind of calls to action here, so what the users typically are drawn to are things like the imagery of the car. You can kind of see the eye moving over the design of the car. Again, seen quite heavily with stuff we've done where there's been people in it. People are drawn to other people and having a look at other people and that kind of stuff. So what's great also with eye tracking is you can kind of sort of see where the visual hierarchy can affect what people engage with and what they see. So I'm looking at the kind of top level navigation on that left hand side there. The stuff below, less interested in, it's smaller, it's drawing the eye a little bit. So other little bits that you can have a little look at on here as well, so let's go and have a little look at some more pictures back in the Saga site again. So other things that you can see and understand as well is how people use control. So how I use that control, how I flick to the centre. So often one of the things we see with eye tracking is how an action in one part of the page can have an effect in the other part of the page, and how visual cues can draw the eye over. So again, with this one here, you've got the loading thing, which flicks your eye over and shows you something's happening on that left-hand side. Again, really, really important to understand how an action and the result can work together, and you can often get that from traditional user testing, but eye tracking actually allows you to see the eye moving over and doing stuff. Okay, so short video. Thanks very much for your time, guys. Any questions you've got about eye tracking, how effective it is, comments down at the bottom there, please. Now again, eye tracking isn't the be all and end all. There are many, many other UX techniques we can use, but hopefully today I've shown you some of the benefits, some of the good things, and kind of also shown you, I suppose, the fifth point here today, which is that eye tracking can be a really engaging thing to watch. So it's amazing watching the project team in the viewing room watch that red dot live, how that adds a whole new dimension to kind of user experience. It's just seeing what that user sees. It's so much more immersive to figure out what people are looking at on the screen. You feel a lot more closer to what they're understanding just by having that little red dot on the screen. So again, guys, cheers, thanks very much for your time, and yeah, I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.